I knew something was wrong the moment I stepped inside. The Airbnb looked fine in the pictures, modern, clean, minimalistic. A perfect little getaway for a weekend in upstate New York. I booked it last minute when my original plans fell through. The host, David, had great reviews and the price was unbeatable. But the moment I unlocked the door, something felt off. It wasn't anything obvious at first, just small things. A faint metallic smell in the air. A slight chill despite the thermostat reading 72 degrees Fahrenheit. The way the furniture seemed a little too staged, like a showroom rather than a lived-in space. I set my bags down and texted my friend Mark. Me made it. Place is nice but kinda weird vibe lol. Mark, weird how? Me ick. Feels empty, but not in a normal way. More like it wants to feel empty. Mark didn't reply right away. I shrugged it off and started unpacking. The bedroom had crisp white sheets. The kitchen was spotless. And there was even a little welcome basket on the counter with snacks and a handwritten note. Welcome, Alex. Hope you enjoy your stay. Let me know if you need anything. David, that was nice. I walked around the house, getting a feel for the place. It was a one-bedroom with an open-concept living room and a large window facing the woods. The sun was setting, casting long shadows through the trees. That's when I noticed it. The guest book on the coffee table. I'd seen these before in Airbnbs, little notebooks where guests left reviews or travel tips. But this one was different. The first few pages were normal. Guests raving about the cleanliness, the peace and quiet. Then the handwriting changed. The next entry was short. Does anyone else hear knocking at night? I flipped the page. Another entry, written in messy, rushed handwriting. I woke up at 3:12 a.m. Something was standing at the foot of my bed. My stomach tightened. The next one, don't open the basement door. I stopped reading. I hadn't even seen a basement door. Slowly, I turned my head, scanning the living room, the hallway, the kitchen. And then I saw it. A door, almost camouflaged in the corner near the pantry. It had no handle, just a keyhole. My phone buzzed. Mark had finally texted back. Mark, dude, where exactly is this place? I started typing a reply when I heard it. A soft, rhythmic knocking. From the basement door. I froze. The knocking wasn't frantic. It wasn't violent. It was patient. Slow. 3 knocks. A pause. 3 more. I swallowed hard and took a shaky step toward the door. The keyhole was at eye level, and despite every nerve in my body screaming at me not to, I lowered my head and peered inside. Darkness. Then movement. Something shifted on the other side. I yanked back so fast I almost lost my balance. My phone buzzed in my hand. Mark, dude, answer me. Where exactly is this place? I quickly dropped a pin and sent it to him. Me. WTF, man, you're freaking me out. Mark, hold on. Hold on. Hold on to what? I turned back to the basement door. The knocking had stopped. I let out a shaky breath. Maybe it was pipes? The house settling? Old wood expanding? Then the welcome basket caught my eye. It was gone. The basket. The note. The snacks. Everything. The countertop was bare. Like it had never been there in the first place. My stomach dropped. Nope. 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 I grabbed my keys and my bag. I was not staying here. I walked straight to the front door, grabbed the knob, and locked. I hadn't locked it. I twisted harder, yanking, pulling, nothing. Deadbolt engaged. I scrambled for my phone, hands shaking. Me, Mark. The door won't open. No response. I turned back toward the living room, my heart hammering. The house suddenly felt smaller, the air heavier. My eyes darted to the windows. Maybe I could break one, climb out if I had to. Then I noticed something outside. A man, standing just beyond the treeline. He wasn't moving, just standing there, facing the house, staring. I couldn't see his face. He was just a dark figure against the trees. My skin crawled. Then my phone vibrated. Mark, Alex, get out of there now. That listing isn't on Airbnb anymore. What? I read the text again, my brain barely processing the words. The listing wasn't on Airbnb anymore. The knocking started again. But this time, it wasn't coming from the basement. It was coming from inside the bedroom. The knocking was soft, deliberate, like whoever or whatever was inside the bedroom knew I could hear it. I took a step back, then another. My back hit the front door, my fingers still gripping my useless keys. My phone vibrated again. I yanked it up, praying it was Mark. Unknown number. "Why are you still here, Alex?" My blood ran ice cold. A shadow passed under the bedroom door. Something was moving inside. I needed out. Now, I sprinted to the nearest window and grabbed a lamp off the side table. One swing and the glass shattered, sending shards clattering to the floor. I hoisted myself up, ignoring the sting as my palms scraped against broken glass, and threw one leg over the ledge, and then I heard it. A voice, coming from inside the bedroom. "Alex." I froze. It knew my name. My body went cold. The voice wasn't angry. It wasn't aggressive. It was wrong, distorted, like multiple voices speaking at once, overlapping and twisting together. "Don't leave." I didn't look back. I launched myself through the window. My knee hit the ground hard, but I scrambled to my feet and ran, tearing across the yard toward my car. The man in the trees was still there, closer now. I fumbled with my keys, hands shaking so badly I almost dropped them. I managed to get the door open, threw myself inside, and slammed the lock down. Something moved in my rearview mirror. Not outside, inside, in the back seat. I barely had time to react before cold fingers wrapped around my throat. Couldn't breathe. The fingers around my throat were ice cold, pressing just enough to stop me from sucking in air. My hands clawed at them, but they weren't hands. They were too long, too thin. The skin stretched tight over bone. I caught a glimpse in the rearview mirror. Something was in the back seat. A shape shifting wrong, its head tilting too far to one side, its body unnaturally still. I couldn't see a face, just a dark silhouette against the faint glow of the dashboard. Then it spoke. "You should have stayed inside." That voice, the same one from the bedroom, twisting, layered. My vision started going dark. I was going to pass out. No. With the last bit of strength I had, I threw myself backward, slamming into the seat and twisting my body. My elbow connected with something solid. A chest, a shoulder, and for a split second, the grip on my throat loosened. I gasped, sucking in air as I fumbled for the keys still in the ignition. The engine roared to life. I didn't think. I didn't look back. I slammed my foot on the gas. The tires screeched against the gravel as the car lurched forward, nearly sending me into the ditch. My hands were shaking so hard I could barely keep the wheel straight. I checked the rearview mirror. The back seat was empty. I gulped down air, my lungs burning, my heart pounding so hard it hurt. Was it gone? Had it ever been there? Then my headlights caught something in the road ahead. The man from the woods, standing perfectly still, blocking the path. I had two choices: swerve and risk crashing into the trees, plow straight through him. I gritted my teeth and made my choice. I hit the gas. The car hurtled forward. The man in the road didn't move. I gripped the wheel, bracing for impact. But the second my headlights fully hit him, he disappeared. Not jumped aside, not ran, just gone. My brain barely had time to register it before I was flying through the empty space where he had been, tires skidding as I struggled to keep control. The road curved sharply, and I wrenched the wheel, barely avoiding the trees. Thump. Something slammed into the side of the car. I screamed, foot slamming on the brakes. The tires screeched, the car jerked, and I finally skidded to a stop. Silence. My breath was ragged, my fingers digging into the steering wheel. Then, a slow, deliberate knock on my window. I turned my head, dreading what I would see. There, standing inches from the glass, was the man from the woods. Only now I could see his face, and it was mine, my own exact reflection, staring back at me, but wrong. His skin was pale, his eyes sunken, his mouth stretched just a little too wide in a twisted, knowing smile. Then he spoke. "You should have stayed inside, Alex." I slammed my foot on the gas, tires kicking up gravel as I sped the hell out of there. I drove like a madman, not looking back, not stopping, my pulse hammering so hard I thought I'd pass out. It wasn't until I hit the main highway, miles away, that I finally dared to glance at the rearview mirror. Empty. Nothing in the back seat. No one on the road behind me. I exhaled, my entire body shaking. I drove straight home that night. Didn't sleep. Didn't turn off the lights. The next morning, I went to check my Airbnb booking. The listing was gone. No history of it. No trace of David. It was like the place had never existed. I don't know what would have happened if I'd stayed. I don't know who or what that man was. All I know is this: when you rent an Airbnb, you're staying in someone else's space. Just pray that it's still theirs. I didn't talk about it. Not to Mark. Not to anyone. I spent the next few days convincing myself that I was just tired, stressed, hallucinating. But deep down, I knew something had changed. The first night back, I barely slept. Every time I closed my eyes, I saw him, my own twisted reflection, grinning at me through the glass. But nothing happened. No knocks, no shadows, just silence. By the third night, I almost believed it was over, until I checked my phone. I had a new Airbnb message from David. David, you left something behind, Alex. I stared at the screen, my heart hammering. The listing was gone. How could he still message me? I started typing, fingers shaking. Me? Who are you? David, check your front porch. Every instinct told me not to, but I had to look. Slowly, I walked to the front door, took a deep breath, opened it. Sitting on my porch, perfectly centered on the welcome mat, was the welcome basket from the Airbnb. The same one I saw disappear. Inside was the note, written in the same neat handwriting. Welcome, Alex. Hope you enjoy your stay. Let me know if you need anything. I slammed the door and locked every deadbolt. That night, I left every light on. I didn't sleep. I just sat there, staring at the basket, waiting for something to happen. But nothing did. The next morning, it was gone. Vanished. Like it had never been there in the first place. I don't rent Airbnbs anymore. I don't stay in hotels. And I never, ever look into dark windows at night. Because sometimes, if you do, you'll see something looking back. Weeks passed. Life started to feel normal again, or at least as normal as it could after what happened. I convinced myself it was over, that I was safe. Until last night. I was brushing my teeth, staring into the bathroom mirror, when I saw it. At first, it looked like a smudge on the glass. A faint, shadowy blur over my reflection. I reached out with my sleeve to wipe it off, but the shadow didn't move. I leaned closer, heart beginning to race. The shadow wasn't a smudge. It was a face. It hovered just behind me in the reflection, barely visible, like it was hiding in the edges of the mirror. Watching me, my breath hitched as I turned around, ready to confront whatever was behind me. Nothing. Just my empty bathroom. I looked back at the mirror. The shadow was closer now. It was grinning. I stumbled backward, my toothbrush clattering to the floor. The lights flickered, and for one horrifying moment, the shadow wasn't in the mirror anymore. It was in the room. It flickered again, and it was gone. But I swear I felt something brush against my arm. I didn't sleep that night. I sat in the living room, every light in the house blazing. Clutching a kitchen knife like that was going to save me from whatever this was. At 3:12 a.m., my phone buzzed. A single notification. Unknown number. Do you like your new mirror, Alex? I hadn't bought a new mirror. I thought it was the same one that had always been there. But now I'm not so sure. I just know one thing. It's not my reflection anymore. I couldn't live like this anymore. The fear, the paranoia, the feeling that I was constantly being watched. It was eating me alive. After the incident with the mirror, I made up my mind. I had to destroy it. The next morning, I grabbed a hammer from the garage and marched straight into the bathroom. My hands were shaking, but I didn't care. Whatever was haunting me, whatever it was, I was going to end it. I stared into the mirror one last time. My reflection stared back. Normal. Ordinary. Just me. For a moment, I almost believed I was imagining everything. Then the reflection blinked. And I didn't. I froze. My reflection's face slowly stretched into that sickening grin I'd seen before, the same twisted smile as the man from the woods. It tilted its head and mouthed two words. "Break it." I didn't think. I just swung. The hammer connected with the mirror, shattering it into 1,000 pieces. Glass exploded everywhere, scattering across the sink and floor. I staggered back, panting, my heart racing. For a brief moment, there was silence. Then the shards on the floor began to move. They shifted, sliding across the tile like they were alive, pulling together to form shapes. Faces. Dozens of faces, all grinning up at me from the broken glass. I backed into the wall, my chest heaving. One by one, the faces began to speak. Their voices layered on top of one another, echoing in my ears. "You let us in, Alex. We're here now. You can't break us. We'll never leave." The largest shard of glass, about the size of my hand, flipped itself upright, balancing impossibly on its edge. My reflection appeared in it, grinning back at me. But it wasn't me. Not anymore. It tilted its head and whispered, "You should have stayed inside." Then the shard fell, shattering into dust. And just like that, the room was quiet. I thought it was over, until I walked out of the bathroom. Every reflective surface, windows, picture frames, the screen of my turned-off TV, was filled with those faces. Watching, grinning. They weren't inside the mirror anymore. They were everywhere. And now, every time I see my reflection, I'm not sure it's me looking back.